who worked the hardest out of all the champions? Out of BJ Penn, Bisping, out of Mackenzie Dern, Chris Cyborg, RDA. I mean, you have a massive list. Who's your hardest worker?
That's unfair to say, to be fair. You know what I mean? That's really unfair.
Well, who would you look at and be surprised? Like, damn, this guy just...
I mean, anybody that wants to be at the highest level has to, dedicate themselves to it.
Because I've heard that Chris Cyborg could go 12, 15 rounds sparring, would never get tired. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, depending on, well, you got to remember that it depends on what type of pushback you got going on in sparring as well. Now, if we have guys, if I have 445-pound men that can fight a little bit, that's going to be hard to go 12 rounds. And if they're putting it on you, you know what I mean? But as a woman, like a girl's her size, she's done. Cyborg, I've set up her sparring for years, and she has a good condition. She's a really hard worker, but she, just like any other human being, can get tired and would get tired.
The Cyborg and Mackenzie, they both spar men sometimes?
Yeah, but I would say a little bit more Cyborg than Mackenzie. I'd keep, because there's enough smaller girls for Mackenzie to work with, and of course I've had her spar a lot of men, mostly throwing punches. But for me, I prefer her in there with girls because there's enough girls around to give her good work. We've used some of the girls. There's one girl that we used probably for the first fight that she fought with Verna 5 years ago. So fortunately, there's enough girls around, and then also you got to remember, if you fight and you're dealing with somebody like a Mackenzie, Cheeto, Bisping, BJ, whatever, they want to spar with these people. You want to spar with a guy in the top 10. If you got, and like I said, you don't need other top 10 people to spar with her. You need people that can fight and fight a little bit, and you get a few of them. You bring them down there, you're going to get some good work that day.
Yeah.
I look at Chris Cyborg's record, and it's like something insane, like 28-1 or 28-2, 28-2. Her first loss was her first fight ever, and then she went on a killing spree, lost to Amanda, and then went back on a killing spree.
She's only lost 2 fights.
That's it. And it's all like title fights too, by the way. It's like the majority of these, there's more title fights than non-title fights.
Was her first Invicta fight a title fight? I don't think so.
No, her first fight was what, Show Fight 2. She lost that. Then she won like 6 straight, then 4 or 5 wins in Strikeforce, then 3 wins in Invicta, and then like 5 or 6 wins in UFC, then 7 wins in Bellator, maybe 6, 7 wins in
PFL too. PFL. She's a title in every.
Yeah, she has a title in
every major, I guess, promotion there's been.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you consider her one of your most successful fighters then, out of all the world champs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What she is, she's obviously very successful.
Yeah, multiple time defenses in terms of title fights. What about BJ Penn in terms of training? Was he one of the most probably gifted athletes you ever trained? No. What, with the misconception that BJ was just the most insane athlete?
No, by no means.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought he was like the most insane athlete.
Well, he was a phenom in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, he got his black belt in 3 years, the right way, I believe. I heard like he went.
Yeah, he was really he was very
insane.
flexible, probably double jointed in his hips. He can throw his foot behind his head. He's a gift. Like, he's a stud, strong.
How was he in the gym during camps?
He's good. He's fucking disciplined.
Yeah.
Worked hard. And when I started training BJ, he was just coming back to the UFC. He's coming off a couple losses, and he was having a rematch with Jens Pulver, who he had lost to the first time. So, and they were on the show that kind of brought him back into the UFC, right? And I think I got him at a good time when he was ready to take it serious. And I went out there. He had a strength and conditioning guy out there, which he's never used before. His name was Tony Aponte. Went out there. Tony had him kind of on a strength and conditioning regimen, so he was in decent shape. And honestly, from then on, he stayed in shape because I stayed out there for a couple of years through his title fight. Yeah, in Hawaii, I stayed there. I stayed there for quite a bit of time. And then when we built Rook over here, we came back over here. We came over here for a couple fights, but he was very dedicated. People always ask me, when was BJ Pitt or what, something like that. What do you think? What made BJ Pitt, when BJ Penn was at his best, is when he was sleeping in a tent. And you go, what does that mean? And I say, well, because he would actually sleep in an altitude tent. And you're like, oh, so you think that altitude tent is what made BJ Penn the best? I said, no. But somebody would think this. They said, fuck, I got to go get an altitude tent. Because he just said that's what made him the best. No, it wasn't the altitude tent. It was the fact that he was willing and wanted to sleep in a motherfucking altitude tent in order to be the best in the world. Like he was saying, if I had the title, I was so worried about losing it, so I would skip that dessert. I would do all the extras. And, when he was champion, he was doing all the extras.